You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table, the podcast where no subject is too taboo to discuss. Now, please welcome your hosts, Andy Barker and Lou Del Pree.
What's up, gentlemen? What's happening? What's going on? Welcome to another Friday episode of Nothing's Off the Table. That's all I got. Thanks for listening,
we were
guys.
Almost late.
Yeah, we'll
I was
see
running
you.
my mouth again.
No. Shut the hell up. That never happens. Anyway, hey, guys, everybody, welcome to the show. We've got a wonderful special guest tonight, and we're going to talk some really cool stuff. He just doesn't know it yet. Justin, my friend, please introduce yourself to the room real quick, and let's get your boring stuff out of the way so we can get to Skinwalker. No, I'm just playing, man. I'm just kidding.
That is it all ties in together. I'm Justin. I'm putting out a book called Sorcery 101, 13 rungs for higher conscious elevation. So sorcery is not, you can leave your magic wands and Merlin robes in the closet because it's spelled Sourcery, I think. Mm-hmm. Spell check generation. Okay. All right. Give me a break. Yeah. Sorcery. And then 13 rungs for higher elevation. So I've just created these things that seem to have helped me, like, just enjoy life better, be a better person, help my addictions, help my anxiety, depression, all those things that, seem to be real prevalent in today's society. So I kind of created this book and this system to go with it. So that's me essentially.
It's we seem to be lately here on the show having a trend of individuals much like yourself going down the same path. It's all about wellness, how to live better,
helping others.
Absolutely. So when I read that, I'm gonna be honest with you, when I first saw the Sourcerer, I was like, wait a minute, what are we getting into? And then I was like, wait, that's not spelled right. And then I started reading what you sent me. I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense now. Perfect. And then I got excited. And I was right. Let's do it. Wordplay. Oh, well, I have a problem with the big words, like to-he.
The.
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, words do matter. They're very important. We were thinking about that. I saw an interesting video where somebody said, hey, if I asked you if the world was round, what would you say? What would you say?
Well, that depends. If my name was Mark Sargent, I would say the world is flat.
If I asked you if the world was round, you'd probably say yes, right? And he said,
I would probably say yes.
Yeah. And he said, and you'd be wrong. And he said, and if you said the world is flat, if I said the world is flat, and you said no, he said you'd be correct. He said it is neither round nor flat. He said it's oblique. It's flatter at the poles. And so he was saying, now it has spheroid properties, he said, and we're getting better. And this was an astrophysicist, I can't remember his name, but he said, we're getting better at describing it because it has some pear-shaped properties. He said it has some round properties. He said, but saying it's round is not true because the words do matter. He said, and that's how we get caught up in a lot of these things. We get hung up. And I was thinking, and this is kind of a shift topic here, but we're going to come right back to you, Justin. But I was thinking, gee, that's right. I've never said I don't believe in climate change. I've always said I don't believe in climate crisis. I absolutely do believe in climate change. And I haven't been using the correct words, but Justin, you put out that you're doing a lot of helping people build on their spiritual consciousness and stuff. And I mean, certainly, words have to produce intense imagery in the business that you're in. If you have a few comments on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's that brings me into like perspective. So there's one true, I suppose, even like you could put true in quotations, but there are 7 billion perceptions of that one truth, so like the world is about perspective. And I constantly have to remind myself of that because what is going on in front of me, is up to me to perceive. And the best thing I have to kind of put that in perspective is that, like elections in particular, I'm not in politics. I don't believe in separation of people of any kind, class, politics, race, whatever it is. I don't, like we're excellent at separating each other,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But politics is one that's just like, if you look at, let's say, the last election, like, and again, I have absolutely no opinion on either one because I think they're both stupid. But
I
like,
understand.
if like, when Trump won, all there's this whole like section of people that this is the end of the world. This is
Yeah.
horrible. This is horrible. But then you have this whole section of people that are celebrating and having parties. And it
Yeah.
happened in the last one with Biden and Trump. And it's just like,
Yeah.
there's a whole
Excuse
section of
me,
people-
excuse me. You're fake news. Everybody knows that I'm amazing. I'm the president, whether I'm in jail or not. You know it. I know it. Abu Bakr Baghdadi. He cried like a little dog when he died. He knows it. It's amazing.
Apprentice, great show. Great show. Everything else sucks. I
Yeah.
can't do it as good as you do. But yeah,
Right.
that's exactly like perspective.
That's an
right?
excellent example too. That's an excellent example.
It's just it's so what goes on in the world, if you're able to like pan out, zoom out, right? If you're able to zoom out of reality and just see things for the way they are, it just helps. It helps my mental health so much, being able to just like watch this as like this crazy weird movie, like there's a movie going on in front of me, but at the same time, I'm the narrator of my own life. So I can like I can Morgan Freeman my way through my own life if I can figure out a way to direct it, and it's like that movie Stranger Fiction. I'm a movie guy. Like everything comes back to movies in my mind. So like it's about perspective, but it's also about narrating, and like that's what kind of the book is a little bit about.
I'm a movie person too.
Oh, we all are. We all are.
As I can see, yeah.
It goes right along with your sweatshirt, actually. He does have some VHS tapes back there.
My Doctor Who.
Not your sweatshirt. The Blockbuster.
Oh, his Blockbuster.
sweatshirt.
Yeah, I have VHS tapes in the back, man. That's all VHS back there.
Come on, man. Give it the program.
Yeah.
So, no, you're 100% right. And I hate politics, man. I'm so sick of politics. But I got to say this. I do love Trump for one simple reason. I love comedy, and he is comedic gold. Regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, the dude's funny.
Right.
Whether you're making fun of him or you just think he's funny, comedic gold.
Jon Stewart is coming back to host the Daily Show just because of this election.
I know.
That
Really?
tells you how
Isn't that
excited
insane?
he is.
That is
Isn't that insane?
That's he's just for this election, and then he's done again.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Ron Clax?
I've always thought, and I'm just gonna throw this out there as my political comment for the night, right? And then I want to hear more about what you're doing. But I always thought, man, if one man's election to a position is that detrimental or beneficial to a certain group of people, that office probably has way too much power. Like if you're pissed off that a guy is going to be president for 4 years and it's the end of the world for you, then maybe that office has too much power. Maybe that office has too much power. Maybe we shouldn't be looking at the guy. Maybe we ought to be looking at the structure of the office, because no one should be in there causing that much world panic.
It's a good point.
No,
real good point.
So, but
you mentioned some things about addiction. Do you suffer from addiction yourself, or have you in the past?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's been a long battle. Certainly, and it's switched from substances. I mean, addiction is addiction. Like it's pick your poison, whatever it may be. But it's my belief everyone has something. I mean, even if it's something that's positive, like you can turn exercise and work into an addiction because it can affect your daily life. My addictions weren't those, but like it's just. Addiction is.
Hey man, this is a judgment-free zone. We don't judge. We don't care, honestly.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, that was it, and you got through it, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah. No, it was. There was a lot of. I got the main thing. So I had high school and you had your weed and your beer and all that stuff and like normal high school stuff. But in college, I really got caught up in that whole which there's a lot of mini series coming out of Netflix and Hulu, Dope Sick, and like that whole oxy thing. I mean, like, everyone had a parent that was getting prescribed, 90 oxys for something they didn't need. So it was real easy to get caught up in that in college in particular. So that's where it kind of came into play. And it's very sneaky too, because, like if someone says, here's a pill, this is heroin, I probably wouldn't have taken it. But, like, here's a pill, it came from Walgreens. It'll make you feel pretty good, like, okay, sure. Like, so it just kind of spiraled from that. And some of it's in the book. It just really got out of hand. I had no idea. I was raised in a family that just really didn't, I don't know, like inform me much of, like things weren't talked about. I grew up in a family where nothing emotional was talked about, whether it was love, drugs, or sex. Nothing was talked about.
Same here.
So,
Yep.
Yeah. You guys can agree. Yeah. So I wasn't abused or, but like there was certainly forms of neglect in terms of like, I need to know this stuff so I can like avoid it. Or in terms of like love and affection, you just kind of need that stuff. So I was just always striving for attention, and things just got massively out of hand starting in high school. Cause I used to so attention, right, is the strongest drug. So like I chased that after high school, because in high school I would walk out with, like a grocery cart full of alcohol. And that made me the king of every party I was at, every single party. And that attention is the highest I've felt since I started doing this in helping people. So I've been chasing that attention high my entire life with drugs and alcohol. Nothing came close until I get the feeling that I've actually maybe helped someone. That's the only thing that can come close to that attention high, because no other high meets it.
Were you the popular guy in school?
I was in my senior year. I wouldn't say it was sophomore high. I just kind of was there a little bit. But senior year, I made myself popular by doing this crazy stuff. So,
So how did you break that cycle of addiction? Because it's different for everyone.
it is very different. There's lots of ways. I have found that helping people, like, you have to replace the high. That's the number one thing. And you can do things like healthy things like work and exercise, but you can throw yourself into things that it affects your daily life. I mean, technically, like even helping people can, like if you have kids and family, you're neglecting them because you're, like exercising or working or helping people too much, that's not great either. But I can tell you that community is the number one thing. Community and belonging. So like finding a community. A lot of people love AA, which is great. I still go to AA meetings. I like the community there. There's some things I don't necessarily love, like I don't like to identify as an alcoholic. I don't like to use my worst trait and say I use an I am statement for my worst trait. Like I am an alcoholic, like I am so much more than that. But AA is still very good. You create community. I mean, like church.
It gives people purpose as soon as they come in. You get a job. You have a greeter. You get a spot. You have you immediately get put to work, because one thing about an addict is an idle mind is the devil's work.
Idle hands. Yep.
Yeah. So they immediately put you to work. That's why.
So I'm sorry, Lou.
Oh no.
I consider myself an alcoholic. I never went to AA, but just one day, man, I just had enough and I just quit. I haven't had a drink since, and I think most importantly, you need to want to be helped first. If you don't reach that rock bottom to where you need and you accept that help, you're never gonna get any better. At least that's my personal experience. But I'm glad you broke out of that cycle. So now you're into this new addiction, if you will, since we went there, and that's helping people, and that's awesome. Lou and I were both in the healthcare field, so all our adult lives, that's all we've done is we've taken care of others, and now that we're retired, it seems that we found a new way to do that, and that's through this podcast. So I get what you're saying 100%. Wow, it's so empowering to hear that, and even more empowering is these what do you call them, Lou? Oh, skinwalkers. Oh, that was a horrible segue, by the way.
It was, but
it was terrible.
I know all about that shit, so bring it on.
Yeah. So we were talking before the show, how about Skinwalker Ranch, right? So
Yeah.
I've seen it. It's a series on Hulu.
I've seen all 4 seasons. I know.
Trust me, there was a method to my madness with this.
So I've only seen 2. So I've only seen 2 seasons, right? So I just finished the rocket episode, the end of season 2, where they sent the rockets up, collected some anomalous data, and they're looking at things.
Triangle void. Yeah.
So define,
you haven't
right?
you haven't seen season 4 yet?
No.
Oh, they find aliens.
So define, yeah. You know what I was thinking? How funny would it be if somebody walked out and they were like, "Man, do you know how close you came to catching us with that one rocket? Man, we had to like pour water in. We were shitting underground." He's like, and then you backed off the drill. We were like,
It's
you know,
on,
like if aliens came out and just started saying like, "Yeah, we thwarted every one of your things, but you came close here, and here," you know. But long story longer. So, real quick, just to define our positions, right? So, Justin, I'm of the mind. You know, I always say I follow the Orson Welles philosophy, right? If we are the only people here, what a terrible waste of space, right? So I believe in aliens, but I don't believe in lizard people ruling America. You know what? Does that make sense?
Oh, it does.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's where I'm at. Now you tell us where you're at. Andy will tell us where he's at, and then we'll get right into it.
So I believe we are on one channel of many. So if you are flipping through cable and you pass through a channel that's playing the Terminator, and then you pass through another channel that's playing the Predator. I'm using very man movies here because we're all men. So the Predator cannot jump channels to the other one because it's on a separate channel. However, we live in a 3-dimensional world, and we can interact with lower dimensions. So we interact with the second dimension all the time, vertical and horizontal. We interact with that all the time because we're in a higher dimension. It is my belief that these dimensions can interact with us because they're of a higher dimension,
like a fourth.
Yeah, like so it would be like if a fish were swimming in the sea and all of a sudden someone jumps in out of, like all of a sudden there's a third dimension happening, like it'd be pretty shocking.
Well, yeah, I think Michio Kaku, the physicist out in New York, he agrees with you 100%.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. So that's, I wish I could tell you I've seen some crazy stuff and I've experienced some amazing things in meditation to where I've been brought to the side of the dimension where like we die. Like I've felt like what it is to die, but I've certainly never seen or
sounds like ayahuasca.
It is a little bit. This was drug free.
Have you? I've never done that. Have you done that?
No.
I never have either.
I got offered to go on a retreat. Well, I know a person who has, and they said they would do it again, and I could go if I wanted to go. They would do it again.
Dude, one of the reasons I quit drinking is because I hate throwing up.
It's part of it.
Yeah.
Well, what do you know about ayahuasca? I don't know anything. All I know is it's some sort of like toad piss or something. Right? What is it?
It's a vine, but it's mixed with something else to make the concoction of ayahuasca. So it's not just the vine itself; it's mixed with.
Yeah, so don't go out there eating vine.
Yeah. No, it's a concoction.
Okay.
I've everything I've read and seen on it. It apparently works, but it's not a route I really want to go. Just saying.
It's extreme.
Now, I would entertain the thought of maybe some DMT.
I don't know what that is.
It's just listen to a Rogan podcast. He'll mention about 1,000 times.
It's what's released when we die. So DMT is dimethyltryptamine, blah 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 blah. But basically, it's released when we die. It's in the brain. I mean, like no drug actually adds anything to our brains. It just releases what's already there.
It's secreted through the pineal gland.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what's funny? I read that book, and then we have to get. See, I go down all these rabbit holes, but then we have to get Andy's. What does Andy think about aliens? But I read the book Political Tribes by Amy Chuo, the Princeton professor, who talked about how social media influenced a lot of things. She's the one who coined the phrase, I believe, if I may be wrong about this, but I think she's the one who coined the phrase white lash over the Trump election. She wrote her book after the Trump election. She was basically saying, like, the most underserved group right now is poor white people. There's no federal programs. There's nothing to help them, right? So it's very hard for you to sell white privilege to a large portion of Americans that are suffering, and she said that's how you ended up with a white lash of an election of Donald Trump, right? So very fascinating. But she said they've actually done studies, man, where they've put people on their Facebook, when you talk about popularity and you talk about various other things, where they look, and drugs not doing anything but releasing what's already in the brain, where they gave people Facebook posts and started liking their posts, and they saw the dopamine go up. And then they saw when you would get in a Facebook argument and you thought you owned the other person, the dopamine would go up. And it was these short little hits. And what they were saying is that's how social media is addicting, because of those popularity things. And
it's 100% true. I was working a shift in the ER one night, and I kid you not, I had a young lady came in, and her chief complaint was she was angry. I'm like, wait a minute. This is the emergency room. This isn't therapy. 2:00 in the morning. I'm not kidding. And it was all stemming over a Facebook post.
Yeah.
And people were being mean to her on Facebook.
Yeah.
So, as the good provider that I am, I told her, pack your shit and get the hell out of here. This isn't the place for that.
Well, I'd say it's fascinating, Justin, that you're coming onto all of this stuff through lived experience, and I've read about all of it. I mean, so a lot of it I've lived myself. I did suffer with alcoholism until I destroyed my pancreas and couldn't drink anymore. But at the end of the day, a lot of what you're saying is absolutely backed up in science, absolutely supported through the literature, absolutely seen in daily lives, I think, of a lot of the listeners here. So that's really good stuff. And I would encourage everybody, before we move on to Skinwalker Ranch, because I'm going to dive into this rabbit hole and I'm going to swim all the way to the core of the earth on it. But you do want to check him out. Justin Shaw. Do you have a website?
JLSsorcery.com, and spelled with a U, sorcery, because otherwise you're going to end up in a site that sells like Eye of Newton rat tails.
Right?
Like,
oh, you blew it, dude.
JLS sorcery with a U.
You blew it. You should have said it's spelled with a U because you are important.
There you go. So there you go. Don't forget to check out Justin Shaw and at his website, and we'll get that to you guys again, and we'll put it in the notes absolutely for sure. Andy, aliens.
Wow, there's so much. I just believe that it's mathematically impossible that we're the only intelligent living creatures in the vast universe. With that being said, do I believe we have little green men running around the planet? No, absolutely not. At the same time, I absolutely want there to be little green men running around the planet. Yeah. I want to believe so bad. The UFO thing, though, that's a whole different ball of wax. They are absolutely real by pure definition of whether you go by UFO or UAP, whichever one you choose. But they truly are unidentified. And that doesn't mean they're alien. It doesn't mean that they're not. It's just we don't know what they are. But they're clearly here, especially with with everybody having these cell phone cameras now, and all the cameras that are around the world, the NSA is watching. Hey, large pepperoni, big liter of Coke, please, thanks. Because they're always listening, them bastards. But yeah, I want to believe. I want to believe that. I don't think it'll happen in our lifetime, but maybe in our kids' lifetime, we'll see something. I get on board pretty heavily with the Michio that dude, that Japanese guy.
Yes.
Yeah, because I can't mention Japanese names right now. 100% though, because I think we look at the way we look at time and space time. We're looking at it in our view only. I don't think we're looking at it right. I don't think it's really as linear as we all believe it is. And once we crack that code, then I think we'll see some true progress. But the reason I brought up Skinwalker Ranch is because, Justin, you were talking about the sorcery and your spirituality and that aspect of it. And that's Skinwalker Ranch is a fun way to kind of dive into that. Because some people think as soon as you mention spirituality, some people get kind of weirded out about it and they tune you out and they don't listen. But let's make it fun, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's so much fun, like to release the shackles of religion, right? Like I don't mean to offend anyone, but like I
Sure.
was shackled with religion for a long time.
Sure.
And once I let go of the dogma and stuff and started, so it's what I call omnism, which is a respect for every single religion, knowing that they're pointed in the right direction, but I don't have to like follow the dogma and the rules of whatever
Right.
religion it is. Like the Bible, if the Bible is the story of God, like it can't have an ending nor a beginning, really. I mean, like if you speak about the Big Bang, like
Now you're talking, pal.
the Big Bang is the most interesting thing because what does an explosion create in this world? It creates
Keep going. I'm almost there.
Yeah, it creates disorder and just
Yeah.
disruption. But the Big Bang, the biggest explosion that's ever happened in the history, creates complete order. There's something to be said about that.
Yeah. Brian Keating's book, Losing the Nobel Prize, goes through all the holes in the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And he's really funny when he says, like, the amount of leaps of logic you have to take to believe in the Big Bang is nowhere near the amount of leap of logic you have to take to believe there's a God.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny. But I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, everybody does seem to be pointing in a direction, of better living, helping others. Some people tolerate abuse more than others.
Jesse the Body says that religion's a crutch for weak-minded individuals.
Well, the crazy part is it's all truly connected. Like, I mean, like everything is, it's all one force. Obi-Wan said it best in Star Wars. Like the universe. It's the force it binds the universe together. It holds it together. It's
Yeah.
made up of It's made up of the living energy of everything, even the things we can't see. So that's why like Skinwalker ties into everything. I was tired of being religious.
Yeah.
Because like they're like, no, that doesn't exist. No, well, no, I'm not gonna like say what this person's experience is not real.
Yeah.
Like it all ties in together, and it's all like whether it's extraterrestrial or interterrestrial, there's like crazy shit that happens in the world that no one knows about because most of them are just plugged into their phone. Like, well, aliens don't exist. Well, that's because you're looking at this the whole time. Why don't you try looking up sometimes? Like,
well, yeah, I agree with you, and I think one, and I was talking to Andy about this the other day, and I harp on this all the time. You have to excuse me, I have a cold. But I hope I didn't send Rona through the mic. But you look at these aliens and things, and I think you got to call in like the CIA or the NDA, right? And you call them in and you sit them down and you say, okay, we give you billions. so that shit like this doesn't happen, right? So that people don't put things in our orbit that we don't know, right? We spend billions on that. We have human intelligence, we have computer intelligence, we have satellites, everything, making sure no country puts some shit up there that we don't know about. So I say you call them in, you sit them down, and you save 2 weeks to tell me what it really is. Otherwise, there's no funding. Sorry. I mean, billions for you, and it's happening every day over specific places, repeatable. No. You tell me what it is right now, or you lose your funding. You got 2 weeks. That's it.
They all know. They just.
That's what I'm
They know.
saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why I say.
they know.
So that's why I say these people and I talk about all the we have a good friend who he harps about border security, right? And how he knows the solution and how to get money there. And every time he starts to tell me, I stop him. I tell him, if you figured it out and you're a peon like me, you think they don't know? I said, they know exactly how to do that, man. I said, you don't even have to tell me how to secure the border and get funding. They got people who know that.
Yeah.
They just don't want to. Like same thing with like the UAPs, right? They know what's going on, or at least they know what's not going on. You know what I'm saying?
Free energy is here. Free energy is here.
Interestingly enough,
it is the titans that are keeping us confined.
So I read a book. Oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lou.
Oh, okay, I'll be real quick. So I read real quick. They were talking about universal truths are universally true. And what the government does is raid the patent office on a regular basis and cancel people's patents. We just had Dr. Greer go on YouTube and say there are several. You familiar with the name?
Oh,
Greer?
no.
Stephen Greer?
That guy knows what's going on.
Yeah. So like Stephen Greer came on.
Everything he says.
Yeah. Stephen Greer came on and said Tesla's experiments have been repeated and repatented. Universal truths are universally true. You can transmit electricity through the air. I have 2 people who filed patents that can do it, had their patents rated by the government and not awarded, and they can't get their work back. He said, so again, to your point, Justin, universal truths are universally true. People will continue to discover these things as time moves on.
Yep. Yep. They had that guy that ran a car with water. He was
right.
It was like in the 90s.
Yeah.
He was shut down so quick.
Well, it's like I guarantee they have the cure for cancer.
Yep.
But Big Pharma.
That's my tinfoil hat theory of my lifetime.
Yeah. Well, there's cures for multiple disease processes out there, but there's no money in it. If you cure it, you don't get money, right?
It's sick care. It's not health care.
Well, and think about this. Think about this. If you did release the cure for cancer, right? How many thousands of people are out of work tomorrow?
That's my point.
Tomorrow,
you're out of money.
All the energy things, oil, and no, I get it, but the fact is we have this solution,
Right.
I'm sick. I got to step away to blow my nose, guys. I apologize.
Something else,
the whole Stephen Greer, I was really fascinated with a lot of what he was putting out, and then I really kind of lost a lot of respect, and maybe I'm kind of on the side of the table that I think he's full of shit now, and the only reason is because he's in it for money. Have you seen that? He's got his whole close encounter system. You pay this much, and we'll teach you how to contact the aliens. That's when I started losing it.
True, but at the same time, I'm here trying to make money for myself so that I don't have to work at Chipotle.
No, I get that. That's cool. But the dude was an emergency room physician. Money's not an option. It's not a problem for him, is my point. If he truly believed what he's putting out and he really wants to bring the info to the masses, if it was me, I wouldn't charge.
I mean, he's got a product. He's got people. He's got to pay for that product. The CE5 thing is very intriguing and interesting. So you'd really have to get down to the bottom line. Like, what is he actually pulling from that? And if he's pulling from that, just tons of money, I mean, I don't know. I just know that I get where he's coming from because, like I said, I'm trying to do this for a living too. So, but he is a doctor and he does know things, but he's been on the inside of so many things, like those. I mean, he knows these things. And like the 2001 conference that he was a part of, and like, so if he's trying to make money, maybe it's something that just like, well, I mean, I kind of fell into this and whatever, but like, I don't think he's in it just for the money. I think
I tell you
think
what,
he just has so much knowledge and so much awareness that it's like, I want to share this with
if he
people.
was charging $5 a pop, I'd have no problem with it.
It could be. I mean,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what he's charging. I'm just saying. It just my red flags went up as soon as because I'll admit I was going down that rabbit hole right with him, and I was
With
on
Greer?
board. Huh? Yeah, with Greer. But when I found out that he started charging for these CE5 experiments or experiences, if you will, I was like, whoa, let me slow down. Let me back up a little
Well,
bit.
it's my understanding he has, oh gosh, what is it, like 200 witnesses that still haven't come forward. He goes through it on it. I watched the 3 hour. I know this is nerdy, but I watched the 3 hour dinner that he was at, where he brought witnesses and brought all these things and was talking about the cost of what it takes to do all this because nobody's helping. But what I thought was interesting was in the first like 30 minutes is him talking, and for all the people that say it's a psyop and all these other things, I get that. I get it, and I would agree with you, which is why I said I would shut it down. I'd call him in and be like, yeah, 2 weeks or your funding's gone, because I'm not spending billions to have shit in my sky that I have no idea on an agency. That's your sole purpose.
Right.
So obviously you can't do it, right? But or you produce what you know. But you look at Greer, and he's giving away base grid coordinates to doors that supposedly open. I mean, this guy is giving away names, bases, locations. I mean, and he's doing it all open source. Like, you could see, he pulls up maps and shows you the grid coordinates of where the doors are that supposedly open into the ground. And I mean, all I'm saying is if that guy's full of shit, man, he is dangerous and needs to be snatched up, because he, like I said, he's giving away base load. He's saying Nellis Air Force Base back in the back mountains, there's an underground ramp. So, I mean, I'm just like, this guy is saying things.
Stranger Things is not fiction. Things, if you watch Stranger Things out there, Stranger Things is, that's what's going on.
That's the other thing that makes me wonder, is this guy just full of shit or what? Because exactly what you just said, Lou. If he was that dangerous, he would have been snatched up and he would have been silenced.
Well, here's the thing, though. You know, the U.S. has learned many lessons over time, right? The Oklahoma City bomber. You remember his name?
Oh yeah,
what was his name?
Timothy McVeigh.
Timothy McVeigh, right? Okay, he died. We moved on. Oklahoma City's a park. Nobody talks about it. Okay, that is my second tinfoil hat theory of my life. Right, there is a cure for cancer, and Timothy McVeigh did not bomb the Oklahoma City. I've already been through all this multiple times. The defense minister of Israel wrote a book on it. One of the former ministers in Israel. He explained everything that happened. And
that's a plausible story.
I'm just saying, he explained everything that happened. Go find it yourself. I don't want to go through it again. I've gone through it on so many shows. Justin, I'll go through it with you after the show if you want to, because I know you're new to this. But anyway, long story longer. They learned that if Kennedy was shot, they shot the assassin. Nobody shuts up about Kennedy. Nobody. Right? So America learned. We cry, they die, we move on. So they got McVeigh. McVeigh died, we moved on.
It's true.
So I think, you take out a guy like Greer, then now you have a conspiracy, and now he's never going to go away. That's why people say, like, I think they're going to shoot Donald Trump. No one's going to shoot Donald Trump.
It doesn't happen anymore. Now,
because we learned people don't let it go.
Oh yeah, no, every peacemaker in the 60s, JFK, RFK, whether it be Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, even up to like John Lennon, like any peacemaker that was trying to bring unity together, shockingly was killed. And there's no tie back. It doesn't happen anymore because of how technological society is.
Well, and the legendary status they receive. The dream lives on and grows bigger. But if they destroy themselves, if we allow them to, injure themselves, whether it be through peer-reviewed literature that targets them, or defaming
Or-
is a thing that's happening now.
Or if they get Hillary, whoa,
If they get Hillary. Yeah, right.
watch out for that laser, man.
He's a reptoid. We all know that.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd hit
well,
it.
I mean,
Really think that.
Like this.
Bill's not hitting it anymore just for that reason right there. But I like Colombian hookers, if you know what I mean.
That was I read George
poor
Stephanopoulos'
Bill.
book, and his talking about Clinton is hilarious, man. He's so funny. Like
We were talking about addiction. Sex is one of them.
yeah, no, you're 100.
Amen.
So funny story. I used to do addiction counseling in the military, right? And you'll tell you some craziest thing. Like the military lets random people do random things. So I work in this industry for about 4 years, right? And I'm talking to somebody about 2 years in, and I'm like, man, I bet Sexaholics Anonymous is awesome. And he's like, oh, no. Like one of the seasoned counselors, he's like, oh no, man, no, you'll get stalked by something that's wildly outside your range. He said, like you think you'll go in there and be a predator to these people will eat you alive. Okay. Like they will eat you alive and they will spit you out and you'll be broke and less of a man for it. He's like, so if you're thinking about hanging around there, I would think again. And he just immediately shut, because that was the joke. The joke was always like, I wish I had a sex addiction. And the dude was like, no.
It's not how it works.
Right, exactly. Things I had never thought of.
So let me ask you, since we're on this topic, stupid share, have you had any, I don't know how you would call them, I don't say paranormal because that can sometimes bring a negative connotation. Have you had any spiritual experiences?
Yeah, lots of spiritual experiences and paranormal. I mean, to me, the paranormal is just normal. But spiritual for sure. Like the most intense spiritual experience I have, and I wrote about it in my book, is just I'm a big meditator, and I had this moment, and I'm trying to come up with a formula for it to try to get other people on board. But essentially, what happened was I feel like I was on airplane mode my whole life. My whole life, I was on airplane mode. And then all of a sudden, someone hit the button. And so when you're on airplane mode, like it's for airplane, but whatever happens, it's, you're not receiving anything. And then you turn off airplane mode, like if you're on like a long flight, all of a sudden, your text and emails come in, all these messages come in. And that's what happened to me, was like all these truths like started coming in that I either thought were false or didn't know of, or whatever the case may be. But all these truths started coming in at once, to the point where I had to stand up and say enough. I can't handle, my mind can't handle anymore, which I know, like any science is a religion as much as anything else. And, any scientist that is arrogant enough to say they know how the world works is a fucking joke to me. Because I feel like I know less than 1% of what this world and this reality is. So like all these things came to me, and like it made me more aware and more conscious, and I see the world in a completely different way. And like I said, it makes me laugh for people that think they got the world figured out. It's like, I feel like I'm not even 1%. And I know so much more than your average Joe, but I know so little at the same time. So I get a kick out of people that think they know. So like personal experience, I've stayed at some fun like haunted hotels, where like I've gotten, like tapped on the shoulder, like fun ghost experience that everyone has. But the main one is this just eye-opening experience I had.
So have you figured out how to teach other people to do that, to turn off airplane mode?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm buying your book, dude.
It's called Sorcery 101, 13 Rungs to Higher Elevation. So it's like 13 rungs, to because if you're a higher elevation, you have a better perspective of what's going on. So that's what this is. And I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but it certainly is on the way.
Now, did you purposely think about the number 13? Or
Yes.
did it just come those steps?
So
it's unlucky. I want to hear your thoughts.
It is it though?
So that's a fictional thing humans have created. Yeah. I being in AA for a long time, I thought about the 12 steps, and it's like, well, it can't be steps. It can't be 12. It's like, and then I looked into the number 13, which actually in tarot is the number for transformation, which is what the entire movie or the entire book is about. Transformation is a very difficult and painful process. You can ask any werewolf, but the number 13 is for that purpose specifically. It is a transformational number, and the rungs are just to get a better perspective. They don't have to be, it's not like AA where you have to be worked in order and everything has to be specific. They're just 13 things that have helped me gain more happiness and more joy in my life.
So, all right, I'm going to ask you a question here, but I have to preface it. I am definitely not the most religious person in the world. I think most people that know me know that. But my question to you is, do you believe in God or a God or a higher power?
Oh, yeah. So I used to be more of the religious type, so Christianity kind of saved me from my addictions. So I attached myself to Christianity, but then I delved deeper into Christianity and realized there's some things I don't really agree with. Like the Bible, yes, it was written, but it was written on, the Jesus experience were written decades after it actually happened. And it's passed through so many different hands and been translated so many different times that it's lost all meaning. There's some really good stuff in the Bible. I don't want to talk bad about it, but there's some good stuff in the Bible. But the fact is it's lost most of its meaning. So I started figuring this out and translated from religious to spiritual, because spiritual is, I consider myself an omnist, which I type it into Word and it says it's a misspelled word. So that means most people don't understand what it is. It means every religion is pointed in the right direction. What turns people off and what traumatizes people is the shame and guilt they feel from the dogma of the religion. And then they turn their back on the religion. And
I thought you were going to say trauma from the Catholic priests, but that's a whole different story.
You're a recovering Catholic. Yeah. No.
Yeah, totally.
I've encountered many, many recovering Catholics. And it is that dogma and that bullshit that they try to put on you okay, so you give the Bible to 20 different people, you're going to get 20 different interpretations. And only one of those is correct. And maybe none of them is correct. So you're going to get all kinds of crap. So my whole thing is to try to clear up the signal. So when you're trying to create things, it's like turning into a manifestation. So when you say the word manifestation, the station, you have to tune into it, it's.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, it's
very clever.
You have to tune into it. You do. It's like those old. You guys are old enough to know. So it's like the old radios that have that little turny dial thing.
Yes.
It's just the ageism.
Yeah.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ageism portion of the show.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, we have a caller.
What station you're on until you get it, and then maybe you're on the right station, but you have to tune in. Then you're
The fine tuning.
Trying to watch Titty TV on Max after 10 p.m. between the 3 and the 4. We know exactly what you're talking about. Like the old dial TVs, you have to get it between the 3 and the 4.
Yeah.
Hey, adjust the rabbit ears.
Gentlemen, let me interrupt you real quick because we have a caller on the line. Caller, go ahead, please.
Hey, this is Mark from the comments.
Hey, what's up, Mark?
Got some Templar knowledge, huh?
Dude, I got all kinds of knowledge. You worked with me before.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the interesting things you were talking about earlier is talking about you'd mentioned religion and the Bible and things like that. And some of the recent archaeological finds that they're finding date back older than known civilization. When they think things were like nomadic tribes across the world, they're starting to find buildings and cities and places of worship that are dating back farther than what they thought known modern civilization existed.
It's phenomenal, isn't it?
I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mark.
And you get into things like I mentioned in the comments with Noah's Ark. There's an almost identical story in Mesopotamian religion about Gilgamesh going through the whole same thing, and it dates back thousands of years earlier. So, is it things repeating itself through time, or is it different views on same historical events and tales?
I think it's a lot of the telephone game. Honestly.
So, Mark, have you watched any of Skinwalker Ranch? And then I'll get Justin in on this, right? Here's why I bring this up. If you watch Skinwalker Ranch, and you guys have all watched, they brought the Jewish rabbi out. He chants causes an electromagnetic issue, right? Then they replay it when he's not there, and it causes the same issue. Then they bring the Native American on, he causes an issue. And one thing I thought was, gee, I wonder if these are pieces of the activation incantation that have been lost to different civilizations over time. And if they bring the Indian and Jewish together and play one long tape, would you get a much bigger reaction? Like they only have pieces of the incantation or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, right? Magic is science we don't understand. So
you get one cheap ass drunk.
Right? But I'm just saying, like, you know, if you that's funny. So I just got that. So if you bring, but if you strung it together, maybe these incantations over time have been broken as civilizations migrated apart. Anyway, Justin, your thoughts on it, and then we'll get Mark back in here.
Absolutely, I think the greatest thing is you're all correct. I mean, it's just what I was saying. The Omnianism is just. You know, everything's pointed in the right direction. Like you could bring a native in, you could bring a Christian in, you could bring a Jew in. It's all gonna have the same reaction at Skinwalker Ranch because it's all one force. It is Star Wars. I'm telling you, man, it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
It is one force that binds the universe together, and it is made up of all the energies of not just us, but the animals and the plants.
Sure.
It's all one energy. So how you enforce or manifest that energy is up to you.
Obviously, religion at its core was pure until man got involved.
Yeah.
I think it was pure. There was a God of sort. Now, we don't know how long or how far back it goes. But when you get man involved, and I'll just use the example of the book of Enoch in the Bible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the one that's not there. Yeah.
Enoch was a very important person. In fact, he's only one of two humans to have walked with God. Why are we leaving that important book out of the Bible? Because somebody, probably the Pope, didn't think it was appropriate, or that's too much knowledge for the peasants. Let's leave that out. Because
correct.
Let's face it, especially in the Middle Ages, the religion was used as a means of control, a way to control the masses. The only literate folks at that point, besides maybe some of the royalty, were the clergy. So, if you got the knowledge, you got the power.
You ever see? If you ever
saying.
seen the Book of Eli, which is amazing, like that movie is fucking fantastic.
Yes.
But it shows the power of the Bible, and it's not the Bible itself; it's who's holding the Bible that has the power, right? Like, because the translation is everything, you know.
Well, it's information, and that in that society, we're not allowed to have information, right? I mean, when I look at the Bible, I think of I have a friend of mine who's a Seventh-day Adventist. He's like, I don't eat shellfish; they're bottom feeders. The Bible says no. I said, the Bible probably says no because you would have died. There's no refrigerator. So, like, how can we get information?
Some guy who didn't like shellfish. I mean,
yeah, or we try to get information to the masses, right? Like, hey, we can't keep pork. You get salmonella. You need to eat it immediately, or you know what? Just don't touch it.
Or trick.
Even portions of the Bible and things like that were saying that pork was bad because they basically wallowed in their own filth and were considered unclean, which is why some religions like with Muslim and stuff don't eat pork, is because it's clean.
Right.
And shrimp and a lot of crustaceans kind of fell in that same category because they were bottom feeders and scavengers eating the dead.
Right. That's what I've heard. But see, I believe there were, this is just me. I believe there was a little 4D chess going on here, where they were like, hey, people are dying. It's because they're eating this stuff that they can't, or like, how do we, because you look at some of these rules and you're like, where did this even come from?
Well, that's just it. It goes back to the clergy were the literate ones with the knowledge, right? And so during those times, how do you get the word out to people, right? How do you protect them from certain things? Well, you can't send out literature because they don't know how to read.
That's it, yeah.
So you put it out at church and you put it out through their whatever and put it in the Bible so that the clergy can relay the Bible to the masses. Now, we're coming up on an hour, gentlemen. We normally only do an hour.
Yeah.
But if you want to go, we can continue on. If not, then we'll wrap it up here
I
shortly.
Unfortunately will have to depart.
What a woman.
It's been real, though.
Mark, go ahead, buddy.
I said I finally joined in the comments, and he runs.
It's totally Lou's fault.
Oh, I know. It's my it is my fault, and I'll be 100% honest. I'm a gamer nerd, and I schedule everything. So I ask Andy, hey, what time are we on, Andy? And then I tell my gamer buddies, okay, I'll be on, like in 15 minutes, right? Because anyway.
Mark, we're going to let you go, buddy. Thanks for calling, and call in earlier next time.
Yeah.
I was eating Mexican and just saw it was on.
No excuse, pal. No excuse.
No, that's fair. I give that an excuse. That's a good excuse.
Anyway, we'll talk to you soon, Mark. Thanks, buddy.
Well, Justin, I want to say, and I have the veteran organization, so I'm going to talk again. But I do want to say, this was an absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed talking to you. I hope you enjoyed talking to us. I hope you were able to say what you wanted to say. And I personally want to extend you an invitation to come out. I can give it to Vandy because he gave me the password. We can have our own podcast. I want to talk to you again. I want to get some more into more of the spiritual aspect of what you're talking about. And then I think we had a really nice time transferring that over to, hey, check out Skinwalker Ranch, right? We took all this stuff.
I'm telling you, it is all connected.
Something's going on. Something's going on at Skinwalker Ranch. That's
all connected. And yes, and I'll tell you about my Bradshaw experiences. Like, Google that for me.
We'll do it. We'll do it next time. Let's talk about the Bradshaw next time.
Sedona, and then we can talk.
I want to 1,000% have you back, man. I've had a blast. Hey, Lou, before you get into your thing, I have to I have to do a shout out. So if you're looking on the screen now, this is a coin, bottle opener coin, challenge coin, whatever you want to call it, from a very good friend of mine, Ron Claxon, who was in the room earlier. I don't know if he's still in the room or not, but I just wanted to thank him for doing that because that was really cool. I served 2 tours in this battalion. First tour was in the early 90s, and the second tour was 2000 to 2003. So, love a dog for life. All right. Well, you know what?
We use it for root beer.
It's that time.
Right.
It's time.
All right,
Thank you,
fellas.
guys.
Hold on. Don't
Yeah,
go anywhere
stay.
yet.
Don't go
Don't go
anywhere. We
anywhere
want to
yet.
keep. Yeah. We
It's
like to
time
say-
for Vets Helping
goodbye.
Vets.
All right, fellas, I got the organization today for Veterans Helping Veterans. So what I'm going to go with is our USO, right? Our United Service Organizations. Don't forget your USO. You see it everywhere in the airport. You see it all around. So let me tell you a little bit about how the USO operates. They operate on signatures and usage. So whenever you're in your local airport, whether you are going to use the USO or not, please head over and sign the roster so that they can show that their USO is used and it will continue to stay open for use by military veterans and their families. Support the USO. If you live near one or you're retired or you got some free time and you can volunteer, I'm sure they'd love to have you. But check it out, the USO, see all the kind and really cool stuff they do. And if you didn't know, they still, it's not like it was in the Bob Hope era, but the USO still puts on concerts for troops overseas, man. It's a pretty awesome organization. So take a look at it. Check it out. And like I said, if you at any time in your life were a veteran, run by there and sign that roster. Because those signatures are truly what drives the USO to have those facilities at the airports to help weary travelers. And I'm sure, you know, look, in this day and age, you can't throw a rock and not hit a vet. Ask him if he's used the USO.
Yeah, and they put on good shows too. We're not talking some, mom and pop, Bob's polka band. We're talking.
Yeah, they brought Hootie and the Blowfish in the
Talking
90s.
Billie Eilish for all you
Yeah.
Gen Z kids.
That's right. That's right. Billie Eilish. You know, she has a concert on VR. I was like, I don't even know who the hell Billie Eilish is, but I went to her concert on Oculus, and I was like,
Billie Eilish, I'd never heard of him.
I think I just raised the age of the room in here by about 20 years. I think I raised the average age in here about 20. Anyway, support your USO. That's all I got. What was it? If I remember from my daughter's videos, comment, click like down below. Every like drives one. You know, if I get 5,000 likes,
That's your clue to shut up. Hey, it's been a pleasure, brother. Thanks so much. We'll see you. See everybody else next week. Justin, hang around. We'll talk soon.
Cool.